God save our gracious king. Long live our noble king. God save our king. La, 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 la. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the king. The soundtrack of this weekend's Premier League football, which all happens slightly later than usual because we in the UK are swearing our allegiance to his royal divine majesty, King Charles III. I'm Tom Rennie. I'll be the king. The queen is very much Brian Dunseth, who joins me in the Week in the Tackle Friday show. Yep. Week in the Tackle predicts the weekend. How are you, buddy? All right?
Yeah, I accept. The Pledge of Allegiance to the king is what you'll be doing this weekend. Congratulations. I know you're a big fan.
Big fan.
Can't wait to see your YouTubes or your Instas, your Insta Snaps, all your social media platforms where you lovingly display your affection for everything that's about to transpire in the next 48 hours.
It's so weird, right? Because you're used to this in America. Mm-hmm. So I've been to like American kind of sports events, some kind of NFL, a couple of NFL games. Even the ones in England played the Star Spangled Banner, which I thought was fascinating. They also played God Save the Queen, as it was at the time when I was there, but also been to like the baseball and things and the basketball, and they all played the national anthem. And I remember thinking, this is utterly bizarre. And I know it's about nationalism and tying the kind of anthem to sporting events to give people a sense of patriotism. You know, there's lots of different kind of social sciences reasons why people do it. Yeah. But we don't really do it here. We do it at the FA Cup final and major events at Wembley and, of course, international games where it's nation v nation. But we don't do it. But because of the coronation of King Charles III in the UK as King of England and the Commonwealth, whatever that is, this weekend, all the Premier League clubs, Dunny, were asked to do the anthem. Everyone's going to do it, including Liverpool. Some of our listeners might not know. Why would you? Depending on where you live in the world, but some regions in England and the UK are less royalist than others. So it's somewhat controversial. Liverpool are doing it. I've got no time to get deeply into that now. But accept it as a kind of well-known fact. So be interesting to see how that plays out against Brentford this weekend. What do you make to it? Is this something we should be doing more often? I find it very odd.
Yeah, well, we're used to it. I mean, I can't speak to that necessarily. I can only speak to the American version. I mean, you go back to the Gulf War and Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl, really iconic moment. You go back to after September 11th and the return to sport with the New York Yankees and all the first responders and the national pride after the event with the Twin Towers. It's something that we're used to. It's something that's just been normalized. So to see what happens this weekend is going to be rather intriguing from an American standpoint.
Yeah, it's good. I think the issue for me with it is that I genuinely do, love being from this country, and I consider myself to be English and British as well with my kind of Scottish heritage. So that's great. But also the main issue for me is that I'm an abolitionist, anti-monarchist Republican atheist. And so I have to stand there and sing God Save the King, essentially singing a praise to a king I don't think should exist, protected by a deity I don't believe in. So it's not as fun as singing the Star Spangled Banner, which is a super cool anthem. It's just a good song. It's just a really good song, often performed by amazing singers. We could get the late, great Whitney Houston or, another great warbler to do our anthem, and it would still sound crap because it's just not a good anthem. Me performing it there is about as good as it's ever going to get. Even Whitney couldn't have saved it. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. We'll see how it goes. The reason for this program is not just for me to spread my anti-monarchist fervor, but it is also to predict one thing that's definitely going to happen this weekend. That's your banker. And one thing that's not going to happen this weekend, that's your shanker, a team, an individual, a club, a fan, whatever, that's going to shank it this weekend, like Jean van der Velde at the 1999 Open Championship. Dunny, banker this weekend. What do you think is definitely going to happen in the games?
Easy one for me. Man City 3-1 winners over Big Sam Allardyce. I'm the best manager ever. 3-1
Are you doing
winners.
Sean? You're doing Sean Dyche.
No,
What's happened here?
I was somewhere in between for this one. It just kind of it just went. It just verbally went. But Erling Haaland is going to score. I'm going to say 3-1 Man City over Leeds United.
We had a lot of fun with Allardyce this week.
Yeah.
Because, the unveiling
Sam.
press conference on Wednesday was terrific. And the whole quotes about, I'm better than Pep and Arteta.
Yeah.
And he kind of rode back on it mid-sentence. But, the cat's out of the bag there. So he realized, I better follow this through now. I think it's a bad appointment. And I think Leeds are just such a Charlie Foxtrot right now. I just can't see what on earth they're going to do to stay in the league. But I think we should bask in this a little bit. Happy Big Sam, because once he gets beaten 8-0 this weekend by Manchester City, we're going to get equally as arrogant, but a lot more angry Sam. And that could go south, Dunny, very, very quickly, couldn't it? When you've got someone like that who tries to shield you with his rhinoceros skin and his supreme arrogance. But when you lose 8-0, he ain't going to take responsibility for that, is he? It's going to be your fault, not his.
Yeah. No, I think he's done a masterful job of deflection. All the pressure ahead of this game with only 4 games remaining, for him to walk through the door and to liken himself to the other managers, to continue to deflect all of the pressure onto himself. It's pretty genius, exactly what he's done. So credit where credit's due. But I think the proof in this situation will reveal itself pretty quickly at the Etihad this weekend.
Your banker is Manchester City. Mine is the end of the title race. It's such a shame for lots of reasons that we're not going to get a title race to the end of this campaign. In the macro of it, when we step back, we're going to think Arsenal have had a really good season. Their goal was probably to get back in the Champions League at the start of this campaign. And because the Champions League now is essentially a cash cow for losers, that's something they are going to achieve. Did you win the league? No. Have you won the league in the last 20 years? No. Welcome back to the Champions League. Here's your bigger budget and your group stage game against FC Cluj. Congratulations, Mikel Arteta. Cluj. Sound like the funniest one. So, look, I think that this was their chance, Arsenal, by the way. Next year, Liverpool, stronger. Newcastle, sovereign wealth fund themselves. Chelsea surely can't be this much of a disgrace. Man United still exists. So the window was open. They couldn't walk through it. I don't think it was a bottle job, but I do think that this was such a great opportunity to do a Leicester, and they've been unable to do so. And Newcastle away this weekend. I mean, they are about to usurp everyone. You get the feeling it's going to be a bit of a City, Newcastle kind of challenge for the big players for the next few seasons, mainly because it's sovereign wealth fund against public investment fund. Great grassroots working class game, this, isn't it? So this feels like a bit of a changing of the guard moment. And Newcastle at home, they score goals, they don't concede many. Even though Arsenal were the best team away from home in the Premier League this season with the most amount of wins, I think this is it. City would have beaten Leeds. Newcastle beat Arsenal the following day. The gap then is 5 points? City with a game in hand, 4 games to go. That's all she wrote, I'm afraid. What about a shanker? Who's going to shank it this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in that same. I'm going to stay in that same conversation with Newcastle, Arsenal. But I'm going to change it with the shanking part is going to be Arsenal and Mikel Arteta's side. I agree with you. I think this was their season to win it. I think there's no excuse for them not to win it. The fact that they dropped those devastating 11 points in that lead that they had coming out of the wobble in February will be devastating to an extent, but at the same time, I agree with you 100%. The amount of money that they are going to generate because of Champions League qualification and being in the city of London really changes what their possibilities look like to attract some of the best players in the world. That being said, I think Miguel Almiron and company still do the business. So I'm going to say Newcastle 1, Arsenal 0, big points dropped for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta.
My shanker for this weekend, I had a couple of picks because I do think I talk about West Ham too much on the show. And once they're safe, I'm not going to. If they actually get safety, I'm not going to mention them again in a Premier League context for the best part of probably 7 or 8 months. So we can all look forward to that. I think most of anyone here. And I do think they've shanked it massively, needing 1 or 2 points to get safety. If they lose this weekend, it'll be 4 losses in a row when you just needed 2 draws. I mean, that, sorry, Tim, is fucking shit. So, this rotten season, if it comes to an end this weekend, terrific, and they can focus on the Conference League. To not do that is a massive shank. To just need 36 points before that semi-final and not get it. The players and manager have let the club down and their employers and their fans this season. But that's not going to be my shanker. My shanker, I don't know why I fancy this. I really don't. But Nottingham Forest have got Southampton, last game on Monday. Bank holiday Monday in the UK. It's 3 unique time slots on Monday. And Forest at home this season, first half of the campaign, that's why they're not relegated yet. They won at home against some good teams, put on some good performances. A lot of pressure on this game against bottom of the table Southampton. Southampton are going to go down, even if they get a result this weekend. But I watched the Arsenal game, as we all did recently. The Newcastle game where they gave a good account of themselves, I thought, despite losing. And there's still something about Southampton. If they didn't do that stupid Nathan Jones thing for a few weeks, I think they probably would still be in this conversation. And with the pressure of we must win this game against a Southampton team who've still got some decent players. I like Carlos Alcaraz. Theo Walcott's having some moments. I think Forest are going to shank it. And Southampton, inexplicably, are going to go to Nottingham Forest and put the cat amongst the relegation pigeons and win by 1-0. And make things really interesting and really nervy for Forest again at the bottom this weekend. So my shanker is Forest, and Southampton going to stay in the race for another week, hanging on in there. We shall see, I guess. Danny, what do you think to that?
I think it's interesting. Bold prediction. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to say that Nottingham Forest win 1-0 over Southampton. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. Just me. What do I know?
Just because you've been better at predicting results than me all season doesn't mean you're right on this one. Where are you this weekend, mate? What are you up to?
I got Portland Timbers against Austin FC. So heading up to the Pacific Northwest to get myself a nice little donut, nice little cup of Joe, and hopefully take in a great game alongside my man Max Bredos. What about you? What do you got?
I am going to be pledging allegiance to the King on Saturday.
True. Facts.
On Sunday, I've given my ticket back for West Ham Man United because I just want to be able to do that Championship Manager thing now, where you press the space bar and you get the result. Like, I don't want to see the games. No one has seen more West Ham games than me this season. I've done my bit now. So let's just find out if they stay up or not. So
jinx them enough. You're not going to go. It's a reverse jinx. You're not going to go so you can win.
We've got friends round on Sunday. We're going to have a lovely day. And it's on the telly here as well. So I'll get the result at 9 p.m. UK time. And if we've won, I'll watch it back. And if not, it's not going to ruin my day.
You're not even going to watch it. You're not going to watch it at all.
No, I don't want to, because if they've won, I'll watch it back. But if they've lost,
avoid.
I've seen them lose 18 games this year. Like, I've done my bit. Yeah. It really pisses me off. So I just wanted them to get 36 points and win the Conference League. I want so little.
Yeah.
I just wanted so little, and they've not achieved it. So I'm not going to watch it, but I'll be doing the commentary on the Monday. I'm back in with the Premier League live gang for the Monday game. Which is Fulham-Leicester at Craven Cottage, back to Craven Cottage again. So that should be super cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're back together again on Tuesday for the full Week in the Tackle podcast, where you can watch it on YouTube, subscribe right now, and listen on all your podcast platforms. That is Brian Dunny Liberace Dunseth. I am Tom Rennie. Tim Horsey produces this program. We're back on Tuesday with more Week in the Tackle.